Hey, it's Baja Nicole, and we're back with another episode of Your LexPD, and we are here for season 3.
I love it. Season 3. Who would have thought when we first started this, right? But we've had a great time with it, and we appreciate everybody. We appreciate the chief and all the chief staff for supporting the project. We appreciate all the people that have been on the project with us, all the different interviews that we've done. And Lex TV, I know we mentioned them at the end of season 2, but Lex TV does a phenomenal job. What a team they have, and what a team when they work with us. And we want to thank you, the viewers out there, everybody that's watching the show, all the comments that we get, the people that come up to us and say they watch it, we appreciate that. If you have any ideas on some of the episodes in the future that you'd like to see or things you want to learn more about, reach out to us and let us know, because this is about you and your LexPD and you learning about our agency and how we work together.
And I would love that. And so this season, we're kind of going to focus on public safety partnerships. So we're going to start off this season with E911.
Yeah, and that's when we talk about partnerships, we're very blessed in Lexington with all the different partnerships we have, both within the Lexington Fayette Urban County government and then also just in the community itself. All the folks and all the partnerships that we have, very, very important to make it all work together. And we're going to highlight some of the things in specialized units and so forth over the next few episodes and over the next season. But yeah, that partnership and the one we're starting with today, that's where, I remember when we did the patrol episode, I said it all begins here. Well, it actually almost always begins there, because it begins when you call 911 and the folks that you're going to be talking to and how they're going to dispatch that, whether it's a police call, fire call. So I'm excited about talking with our enhanced 911 center today on Your LexPD.
So let's go talk to him. Hey, and it's Baja Nicole, and we are back, and we are here with some of the people that work at E911. So we are going to talk to the director, Miss Janelle Patton. How are you doing today?
I am doing fabulous today. Thank you for asking.
So glad to have you here with us today, talking with us.
To be here today.
So you are the director of E911. Can you tell us how you came to be in that position?
Yes, it's been a long road. I started in 1999, the year before the world was supposed to end. And I started as a police dispatcher. I took a promotion to supervisor. I enjoyed that position as well, and I became a PSAT manager. And then ultimately I became the director in 2021.
Nice. Well, congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what does, I know I say E911, what does the E stand for?
E stands for enhanced. And what enhanced means, you're able to get location information. So when a call comes in, of course, you're going to get a phone number. Enhanced, it actually shows the latitude and longitude in case the caller has difficulty providing that location information. It's also integrated now with GIS mapping systems, which makes locating people a lot easier.
And I think Lexington was one of the first E911s in the state, is it right?
It was.
Okay.
It was.
All right. And that's very significant, because you all get calls all the time where people don't really know where they are, particularly if they're not from Lexington, if they're on the interstate, things like that. So that helps maybe save somebody's life. So.
It does. And now with AI technology and just all of the cutting edge technology, we're able to do a whole lot.
Well, when you look in this room, now you haven't been around as long as I have, but you do remember the old 911 center. And so things have changed a lot. I think everything at one point from the police side was contained at police headquarters downtown, and the fire department was over at Station 1, I believe, at one point.
Yes. So,
and when did all that change, and has it made a big difference?
It all changed in 2015. Fire department dispatchers actually came to police headquarters, and we all started dispatching out of that location. In 2016, we moved to this brand new facility. and it definitely has made things better. Having everyone in the same room when an incident occurs, it's vital to communication. And this building is unique in that it has everyone that is really providing a customer service response in the event of an emergency. We're all here together, so it definitely has made a difference.
And it's obviously state of the art.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds
Yes.
of stuff.
First time I've been over here.
So if for anybody out there that maybe is thinking about being a telecommunicator, being a call taker, dispatcher, what kind of training goes into that? And you've got a lot of personnel. I don't know, how many personnel do you have?
I have 81 personnel.
Okay, and so I'm sure there's a lot of training involved.
There is a state mandatory training that you have to be a certified telecommunicator in the state of Kentucky. And that right now is 4 weeks of training at Department of Criminal Justice Training Center. That teaches you the basics of being a telecommunicator. There are a few cities in the state that split the duties up. Lexington is one of those. We have call takers and we have dispatchers. Of course, call takers are talking to the citizens and dispatchers are talking to responders, and that is strictly due to volume. So some of the smaller agencies, they do it. One person dispatches and does the call taking as well. But we are hiring right now. So if you like a fast-paced environment, you want a steady career, you want to provide a service to citizens and responders, it's a great career. It's a great career.
Awesome. So when should people call 911 and when should they not? I know it seems like, yeah, you call 911 for emergencies, but
Yes. In life or death emergencies. And also times when something is going on criminally. Something is going on where harm can be done to an individual. You know, we always say, you know, if you see something, say something. If you feel like you need to call 911, definitely call. But if it's not an emergency, if it's for a report, if it's for some type of instruction or a question, there's other means that can be used, like the administrative number.
And I've
Not
heard,
emergency number.
I've heard
Yes.
we would have people call, they're stuck in traffic, and they would call 911 and say, why am I stuck in traffic? That is not a reason to call 911. So
That is true.
so that was a good question as to why, right? But if you, and I always tell people when I'm at neighborhood meetings and so forth, if you have to stop and think, should I call the non-emergency or 911, just go ahead and call 911. If it's close enough that you really don't know if it's an emergency, it may be. So
now we are here because you had mentioned call takers. So we are here with Michelle Haynes. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And so you are a call taker, correct?
Yes.
So can you tell us how you came into your position?
Okay, so I started in 2009. So I had a friend that was in dispatch and was like, you need to come work with me. So I came and listened with her, and it was a lot different and a lot of different variety that I didn't get in my other job.
well, you know, when people call 911, many times, it's the worst day of their life. Something tragic has happened, something significant is going on. They're not always in the frame of mind that they live in. So you as a call taker, I'm sure you've experienced some unbelievable things that you've had to deal with over the phone, talk people through, encourage them, support them until first responders could get there. So what would you say about your job? What is it? I mean, obviously it has to be stressful.
It is stressful. Sometimes you laugh with the callers. You know, they'll call me like, I don't know who else to ask. And it'll be like the weirdest, smallest thing, or it's something simple. Like I helped a guy get home that was in a motorized wheelchair and lost his way. He literally just needed to keep going straight. And I just stayed on the phone with him, and I got a compliment from it because he was very thankful.
Right.
So sometimes people call in and they're freaked out and they're young and they just had their first accident, and you just calm them down. So not every call is going to be highly stressed or terrible. I had a really terrible one just about 20 minutes ago. But it balances out, and sometimes they're thankful, and it makes you appreciate, hey, I got to help somebody today, or my life has a purpose, my job has a purpose.
Well, I know on patrol, we appreciate it. So how do you all prioritize, and I guess, the calls that you do get? Because some people call and they think, oh, I talked to the dispatcher, and I was like, you did not talk to a dispatcher, you talked to a call taker. So
They don't understand the difference, and a lot of my friends think I work in dispatch, because they don't understand the call taking and dispatching. So when people call 911, they expect a response right away. Whether it's 911 or administrative, we are the same people. So even though you don't have an emergency or you do have an emergency, we're going to prioritize how we need it. So yes, if you're in a car wreck and you're on the shoulder and you're out of traffic, it's going to be a lower priority. The higher priority calls are going to be if you're in traffic, you could easily get hit. Sometimes we've been doing high priority for welfare checks on individuals because it's been so cold. So they're worried about the homeless that have been out in the elements for a long period of time. High priorities are like if suspects are somewhere, like if a crime just happened and the suspect still might be around, or a domestic violence situation where the person that they were arguing with might be around, they'll put them in danger. So those are high priorities.
So other than just prioritizing it, then you have to make the decision whether it goes to a fire dispatcher or a police dispatcher. Is that right?
Correct. Okay. And sometimes we have the capability to put them both on a call.
Okay. Which I guess like an accident with injuries or...
An accident with injuries will definitely send fire department and police. Okay. I had a call several years ago that the young girl had an accident and she was hyperventilating on me. And it was a non-injury accident, but I ended up sending an ambulance because I couldn't get her calmed down, just to make sure she was checked out and okay. So sometimes, we had to the call because, you've got police going and then all of a sudden they say something, and, oh, there's blood on their face, or that they might have an injury, might need to get checked out. So we just send the fire department too.
So when you call 911 and you hear 911, what's your emergency? That's you.
Yes.
What do you want to hear? What are the questions that are
I
very,
need to know
very
the
important?
location of where you're at or where your emergency is.
Okay. That's number one,
Yes.
right? Because if we don't know where to go.
We have wonderful maps that can almost pinpoint exactly where you are. But if you're in an apartment, I can't tell what apartment you're in. Okay. So the big thing is a lot of people don't know their apartment numbers. So, I have to have them look at the door or look at their mail. So it's a good idea to just know your address. And depending on the capabilities of the phone, if it's an older phone and not the best service, I might can get close, but I don't think it's where they're exactly at. So it's a good idea to always know your address, always know your surroundings. We get a lot of people say, I'm not from here, but if you can tell me like what business you're around or what you see around you, I can pinpoint usually where you are. I grew up here, so I'm very familiar with the streets, and we have this wonderful thing called Google Maps that we can pull up. Okay, I think you're at the Speedway and something else, so I can pull up the map and make sure I'm correct in my head, or somebody that's not from here that works here can figure it out. So you don't necessarily need to know the address, but you just need to tell me what you see, because I don't see what you see. So you tell me what you see, and we can figure out where you're at.
I'd like to interject just for a second, because Michelle, she does a great job. And a lot of times callers, they don't understand why we're asking the questions. They just want to say, just get me somebody out here now. Well, we're asking those questions, number one, to keep the callers safe and to keep the responders safe and keep them apprised. We are dispatching when we get the location. We have the capability to keep adding to the call, so responders are actually on the way. We just want a picture of the scene so we can relay that to the responders.
So you're typing information in and the dispatcher's already getting it. Yes. and talking to either the police officer or the firefighter before you get off the phone. So it's not one of those things that we're not going to send anybody until we get off the phone.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Sometimes they're still on the phone. arrived on calls and
Yes.
they still have the call taker on. I'm like, oh, it's Officer Owings, I'm here. And they're like, okay, I'm gonna let you go. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. I stay on the phone with them because they may be freaking out for
We
whatever
keep them
reason.
calm, or situation changes. You know, when we first get the call dispatched, the person's in the house and now they're down the street, and so the officers need to know that. And everybody thinks because we ask questions, yes, we're not coming, but it's because we are coming, and we might get to you faster. The more questions you ask, the better location we can get, the quicker you can get response.
All right. Well, very good information. Lexington is blessed to have the 911 system, the enhanced 911 system that we have, and the folks that work here. I've been around for a long time. There's still a few voices that I remember from back in the day on the radio, and understanding the importance of what you all do for both the callers and both for the first responders as well. So we appreciate everything you do as far as coordinating and being the director of the enhanced 911 and everything you do as far as being a call taker. So thank you all very much for joining us today.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
Thank you.
And we are back, and we just talked to the E911 director and the call taker. So now we are going to talk to Jessica Carreras with dispatch. So can you tell us how you became a dispatcher?
Started as a call taker for about 6 months, then got promoted to a telecommunicator senior, police dispatch. And I've now been doing that for about 3 years, been here about 3.5.
You
So
like it?
love it. It's interesting, you never know what you're gonna get from day to day. Yeah.
Well, we talked to the call taker, and the call taker is the one obviously dealing with the person that is having the emergency and the stress that's involved with that. But you're our lifeline as far as making sure that the officer knows where to go and making sure that the officer is safe and maybe gets backup or whatever they need. So what are some of the things that you have dealt with that are some of the stressors in your job that can make for a difficult day?
My biggest thing is responder safety. I want to make sure everyone goes home at the end of the day, regardless of how I feel, what I'm going through, leave it at the door. Biggest thing for me is location. I don't really mind what you're doing, who you're out with, just let me know where you are. Because if you yell for help, if you start chasing someone, shots fired, because I've had those calls before, those will just pump the adrenaline, make your heart stop, and you really just want to get there and get people to them as quick as possible.
And as a patrolman, that's
Yeah.
that's what I train my recruits or probationary officers. Was like, location, 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 location.
Yes.
Because whatever the last location you gave is where they're going to send help, and you may be 5 blocks from there.
Yes.
So that car is not stopping. Give every block that, oh, we're turning here, we're turning here. Oh, we're in this parking lot now, and they'll update your
Yes.
location. So location is very important for us as well.
Yes, if I have to, we're going to hold the traffic until we get someone to you if we can't find out where you are. Yes.
That's been a trend today because we talked about the importance of who's calling, making sure that you give us location, but it's also the first responders obviously knowing our location as well. So.
Yes.
So and we talked a little bit about the training involved in this. So you went to, you go to Richmond for a period of time?
DLCJT for
Okay.
4 weeks. They certify you and train you on like how to handle stress, high priority calls, radio etiquette, just stuff like that.
And we're lucky here in Lexington. Again, we talked about it being an enhanced 911, so that helped. There's a lot more to learn here, I'm sure,
Yes.
from a telecommunicator side as well.
Yes, a lot of information coming at you.
So we are here with Paul Hamilton with Fire Dispatch. Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us how you came to be in your position?
I came down and started working as a fire dispatcher, and I've been here for 10 years.
All right, so we talked a little bit about what a police dispatcher does and the type of communications they deal with as far as working with the officers. So tell us a little bit about the fire department and what goes on with that after the call comes in to 911.
I think they parallel quite a bit because we work hand in hand with the police dispatchers, but the big difference is every call for service that we get, we're going to dispatch on within 90 seconds. The same concerns, getting the information as to where we're going, if there are any responder safety issues, are there any firearms on scene, are there any knives, are there any biohazards there, you have gas situations. So most of the times in those priority calls, we'll have police going as well. So both Jessica and my job now becomes taking care of both sides of the equation. We have to communicate with her to make sure police officers are safety. She has to communicate with us to make sure our responders are safe.
Well, and a lot of people, I'm not sure everybody understands that in Lexington, fire services are both the fire department and EC, emergency care units, which are ambulances. So you're dealing with both of those.
Yeah, and one unique thing about Lexington, and I believe all of our engines have paramedics on it, and I think it's one of 5 cities in the United States that have paramedics on their engine. So if this is a critical situation like a chest pain, we're going to send an EC. We have 13 ECs spread throughout the county. We have 24 first responders that we can send. So geographically, we can get a first responder in an engine or a ladder that are quicker, that has a paramedic on it to start rendering care before we get on scene. Now, Lexington, like I said, is unique in that we're one of 4 or 5, I think, cities in the United States that does that.
We get a lot of questions about that. Why are they sending a fire truck? Well, it's because we're helping people before we can get an ambulance there, and the quicker we can get assistance, the quicker medical care can start, obviously the better outcome we're going to have. And we talked a little bit about the stressors of the job. And, you know, the fire department, and as both of you all said, we go to a lot of the same calls. Whether it's collisions with injuries or various things, we go to a lot of the same types of calls. But what are some of the stressors that you deal with as far as from dispatching from the fire side?
It's similar to Jessica. We want to know where you are. We are unique in that we have GPS, so we can see where their truck is. Right. At all times, we can zoom to them on the map. But sometimes when they go into buildings, my great stressor is silence. When I'm calling out on the radio and I don't get a response back. Sometimes, you know, they're in, you know, these big, you know, UK hospitals. Sometimes the radio's not going to work inside. Sometimes, you know, there's a lot going on at the scene, and I'll say, Jessica, hey, holler at your officers, have them check to make sure my responders are safety. She'll do the same thing. Hey, I can't reach them on the radio. Ask, you know, your responders if they see the officer and if he's okay. So in that regard, we have to really make sure we mesh what we do and communicate with whoever the dispatcher is that's on, has that sector that's on scene with our responders.
Well, you know, I would like to say that we are a team.
Absolutely.
And the entire public safety community in Lexington is a team. Mm-hmm. And we all work together, we all have functions. And, you know, we appreciate, and the community appreciates what you all do as far as taking those calls all the way from the call taker into getting officers, getting the fire department on scene, making sure that the folks there are safe, making sure that we're safe. And so we appreciate everything you all do, and we want to thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks for
thank
having
you.
us.
All right.
Baj, it was so good talking to the folks at E911. I learned a lot, even being on patrol, how the
Absolutely.
setup is down here and everything. So.
Yeah, and again, we're very fortunate in Lexington to have that enhanced 911 and having the people behind the phone calls, people behind the mics talking to us. Just great team down here at Communications. So the folks out there in Lexington are very fortunate, and we're very fortunate too as first responders. So
And how important location is.
absolutely. Don't forget that.
So, Baj, what are we going to talk about next month?
Well, the whole public safety team is a lot of different functions, a lot of different people. But the whole police team involves a lot of different people too. And you think about sworn uniformed officers and detectives and all when you think about the police department. But we have a whole lot of folks that are behind the scenes that do amazing work and so much for the police department. So next month we're going to be talking about some of our civilian personnel and some of the different functions they have. It may surprise a lot of folks, things that they do to help us and help the actual folks out in Lexington too from that perspective as opposed to just seeing the uniform. And then from there we got all kinds of different episodes, but I think that's so important to focus on those folks because they play a very, very key role.
Yes, they do. So join us next month for another episode of Your LexPD.